We are live. Thanks for coming. My name is Garrett Valdivia. I've been doing internet marketing and web design since probably around 2001. I started out doing business for myself and working for a company called Tropical Traditions. And when I first started, it was mostly web design, and I did a lot of network marketing as well. Sorry, not network marketing, internet marketing. But it wasn't until around 2004 I joined a program that was online called the 30-Day Challenge. And the 30-Day Challenge was my first exposure to like a whole lot of internet marketers. I learned a lot there. And without going into details, there was a contest during the course of that granted me admission to a private club for higher end marketing called the Immediate Edge. You can look these up. That was an $800 a month program. But I was invited in for my contributions to their community. So after that, I went on to create a few products of my own and sell some other products for other people. And I was able to sustain myself with internet marketing for a little while. Later on, I went more into the web design side of things, which is what I've been doing up until present. So, but now I'm a Plexus ambassador. I quit my job, so there's better work. Today we're going to be talking about just social networks in general. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and a few others. And we're going to do a specialized session for each one of these and talk about how they work, what you use them for, and how they're applicable to your business. But I'm hoping with today's video and the videos that are coming that we're going to be able to clear up some misconceptions that people have about networking on the internet. As we are involved in Plexus, this is a direct marketing business, and social networks are a very easy way for us to get in touch with people directly. So, let's get started. What social networks are for. I'm just going to read through this and then explain myself. Meeting people, sharing information, staying in contact with friends, strengthening bonds, coordinating events, building your branding, and celebrating success stories and testimonials. Social networking is all about sharing information. It's not about pushing information. And it's important to keep that in mind whenever you're using a network. People use it kind of like banter at a cafe or something. It's more about sharing information with each other and having mutually interesting topics to share with one another. So that's what the whole like system's about, the sharing on these networks. It's all about somebody thought that was cool and they wanted somebody else to know. So what they're not for is pushing your product and making sales. And we'll talk more about that later. It does impact your sales, but what you're not doing is pushing your product. We're not using this to generate leads. We're using this to create relationships, and I think there's an important difference there. We're not using them to find new markets. We're using them to expand our social groups. Anything you wouldn't say around your family and friends at a casual gathering doesn't belong on a social network site. Now there are exceptions, but it's important to keep this in mind or you're going to find that people aren't going to like you online. So why use social networking in the first place if it's not a sales tool? It's powerful for staying in touch and keeping track of large amounts of contacts. Right? As you've probably heard, somebody has 300,000 followers on Twitter, or many oodles of people on Facebook. One thing that makes social networking unique is the fact that you can keep track of and communicate with so many people with so little effort. That's the inherent power of what these systems create. I like to call them address books sometimes because that's how they feel to me. I don't keep a personal address book of all my friends and family because I don't need to. They're all over the place. They're easy to get in contact with on the internet. And not only that, but it's also a detailed book of people's interests, their challenges, and their contact preferences. Some people like communicating on the internet, some people don't. And usually they're pretty verbal about it on the internet. So that is useful for us. Indirect exposure that can lead to strong relationships, and you can read between the lines, sales. This is a network marketing business. If we don't have strong relationships, we don't have strong sales. So principally what we're aiming to do here is be a likable person. So these are the networks that we're going to be talking about in this course. We have primary networks and we have secondary networks, and we'll break into this in a second. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, Tumblr, they're some of the most populated networks on the internet. Should you use them all? Probably not. but there's probably one or two of them that will fit into your lifestyle. Now, Pinterest, Instagram, Meetup, Foursquare, Vine, these are also huge populations, but they serve a different function than what I'm calling the primary networks. They're what I call feeders, right? These things they're lighter, they're easier, they use smaller amounts of interaction between users, but they have a wonderful, wonderful function in getting people's attention. All right, so if you're on Pinterest or Instagram, you notice mostly you're using photos and pictures of items and whatever, and you're commenting on them, and they can lead to conversation with others. But what's cool about these secondary networks is a lot of times they integrate directly with these primary networks. I can take a picture on Instagram, and it will instantly go to my Twitter or Facebook account, for instance. Why would I prefer that? Because Instagram is extremely easy to use, and it doesn't take me more than a couple seconds to take a picture and post it to those networks. So think of these like leverage. They're also really cool. Like Vine, for instance, will make little tiny movies that they can share onto other networks very quickly. These are conversation starters. Every time I've made a Vine, I've had 30 people comment on it. It always is something that pops out to you when you're on the internet. So, which networks should you use? Well, that's a subjective question. So we're going to go through the primary networks real quick, and I'm going to talk about what they're for. It's up to you to decide if that's going to be useful to you. So Facebook, obviously, has the huge, huge population. It's the most populated social network on the planet right now. It has the most integration with other apps and other networks. It has the highest population of users. It's a good choice as your home base for social networking. So many things plug into Facebook that if you set it up right, you can basically just stay in Facebook and get everything else. So Facebook is also very good for leverage in that sense, for people who are low on time. You primarily are going to use Facebook for sharing your testimonies, scheduling events, spreading information on health facts, and your personal activities. It's a strong communication hub for direct chat and messages as well. There's a lot of people, including me and my girlfriend, that communicate almost exclusively through Facebook. So it's very useful for that sort of thing. Twitter, on the other hand, is a more ambiguous network. Twitter, the whole tweeting thing is an anomaly to a lot of people, and actually to most of us at large. It's used for organizing meetings, posting pictures and videos, news and links. It's fast-paced, it's highly populated, and it's strong for inciting communication if used properly. You don't want to blast links to your store on Twitter. If you want to lose all the ground you've created on Twitter, start blasting them with advertising. Right? Twitter users are possibly the most sensitive of the bunch, but we'll touch on that more later. LinkedIn, another interesting network. This is a very strong place for you to find new ambassadors rather than clients. You can see what people are currently doing or seeking for employment and send them private messages to invite them to meetings or demonstrations. Some may even indicate their direct marketing history there, and you can tell if they've been involved in network marketing before. Do not attempt to market your product on LinkedIn, but feel free to use it for branding. And you promote yourself as a business person on LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be powerful if you're looking to build a strong business infrastructure. Google Plus is another ambiguous network. Google Plus is basically what you want it to be, so this one's a little harder to summarize. It's about websites, videos, links, news, and communicating to groups of people, as opposed to just individuals. Use it to share health news, communicate with ambassadors, share training tools or resources, and highlight informative articles on products or diet. Unlike Facebook, G+ is not a network well suited for private communication. Rather, G+ has a unique feature called circles. With circles, you can make it so that your ambassadors, your preferred clients, your leads, or anyone connected to you in your personal life are all in different categories, and you can communicate with them very easily and directly. So it's very good for just managing those higher end communications. Alright, so secondary networks. And I feel this is important. If you have a phone or a tablet, like an iPad or an iPhone, these apps work marvelously. Right? Where the Facebook app is convenient, and easy to check on when you're out and about. Pinterest, Instagram, Vine, Foursquare's on here, Meetup. These are all made for people on the go. So when you only have seconds to spare, you can still have productive communication and get in touch with everybody who's in these networks with you. Primarily, I like Vine and I like Instagram. I'm not a big fan of Pinterest, but I know a lot of people are. Instagram and Vine are so easy to use. You could be doing virtually anything. You could be washing the dishes and take a quick picture of it and say, I'm washing the dishes, and it'll go out to your networks. So, as far as keeping yourself real on the internet and giving a clear presentation of your personality, these apps are really great to leverage. So I'm just going to read this real quick. Download these apps for your device's app store and take them for a whirl. These apps integrate nicely with Facebook and Twitter and sometimes many other networks. Consider these apps power tools for your social experience, but do not focus on them by themselves. I don't recommend just doing Instagram, because Instagram isn't built for developing relationships. It's built for sharing pictures. But because it interacts directly with Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and all these, it can be a great conversation starter in those networks. Pinterest, Instagram, and Vine in particular are great attention grabbers to instigate conversation. If you are just starting out with social networks, try them all, but choose only one to work into your routine. People that are immersed in social networking, you'll commonly see them using Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Vine and all these different things, but they got into them one at a time. And in my opinion, everybody needs to do that. You need to get used to what that network's for, how it functions, and more importantly, how it makes you happy, because that's ultimately what's going to motivate you when you don't have money coming in from these efforts. Tumblr is a huge one, and it's when we get to Tumblr night, it's going to be exciting. But we're just going to summarize it right now. Tumblr is the most populated blogging network in the world right now. Tumblr requires a passion or multiple to make use of. You may enjoy Tumblr if you like meeting new people online who share common interests with you, and it can be an extremely powerful tool to this end, but be forewarned that marketers seldom utilize it properly, as it is the least friendly network for businesses. Use Tumblr to develop relationships and large audiences for education and entertainment. One of the best examples of someone using Tumblr properly is, incidentally, Denny's. Denny's figured it out. They started their own blog. They post their pictures of their food and, their specials and whatnot. But they've learned to post things from other people as well that aren't related to their business. They've learned to take insults to their business in stride and make jokes out of them. They're so entertaining that people just willingly follow Denny's just for the sheer entertainment of it. And that kind of marketing strategy cannot be understated, because now Denny's seems real to you. I don't have time for this. Okay, that is the most common complaint in social networking. Luckily, we have tools to this end, and we're going to have more. The Plexus builder in the back office for Plexus ambassadors has a section called Social Posts. And this thing has got two great features. Firstly, if you really don't have time for this, what I recommend is you plug into something like Instagram or Vine, something that is very easy, that takes only seconds to use. And you use that to post a lot of personal content. Then you go in here to the social post section in your back office and authorize Facebook and or Twitter to be automatically posted to. It's a lot of great content that the Plexus builder has inside of it. They're mostly inspirational quotes that link to your store to help people feel inspired to change their lives. You don't have to think about it. You can set the frequency, 1 a day, 5 a day, whatever works for you. Try not to overwhelm your audience. If you don't like the idea of them posting on your behalf, no worries. We can do it manually too. In the back office, you'll see in the social tools section, there's a manual post button. When you click that, you get access to a very large supply of ready-to-go inspirational quotes and images that you can use on any network of your choosing, already made out for you. So when you feel like it's time for you to, make your daily Plexus plug in your social network, these tools are already available. We're going to be generating more of these with the SoCal Slim project, but for the time being, there's still plenty to work from. All right, so what should you do next? Try out the networks for yourself and have fun. Don't think too hard about the business until you've gotten in touch with friends and learned how to find cool stuff on these networks. This is probably the most important point in my entire presentation. Okay, there's nothing I can stress more than this. You need to learn to use the network to communicate with others in a productive and entertaining way, just like you would do at a dinner table. You're not going to sit there and talk about your business to somebody who's not interested for 30 minutes at dinner. You talk about what's going on in your life, what things you want to happen, what things are going to happen next for you. You want to listen to what's happening for them. I'm going to talk about what things are cool that are coming up, and that's the foundation that you're going to be able to work from. Once those relationships exist, then you can say, hey, check out this little pink drink. I'd like to talk to you about it. And stay tuned for the rest of the Social Networking 101 series from SoCal Slim. We'll be covering each of the networks in detail. We'll be talking about everything from hashtags to how to gain followers, how to communicate with people in a way that's not overwhelming, and what frequency you should be including Plexus in with your communications with others. So yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the question and answer portion. Thank you for attending. We'll be back.